Hello, my name is Russ Merrick, and I'd like to welcome you to the manufacturing facility of Merrick Machine Company located here in Alden, Nebraska. Today what we have for you is the drawer machine. We've got several of these videos online. You can see us on our YouTube channel, or go look at triadruvo.com as our website, or call the factory at 1-800-568-7423. Drawer machine, really just a bulletproof machine. If you're looking for volume or something that's going on, you want to do about 120 doors an hour, you can pretty much do with this machine. It depends on your requirements, and it also depends on the flow through your plant, okay, as far as how many you can actually get out an hour, and how often you're changing things out. So for the most part, we've got an indexing system, so the guns actually lower and raise on both sides. Works pretty smooth. We believe a lot in cast iron, so you're going to see a lot of cast iron components on this machine. You've got a platinum here. This platinum actually lowers and raises with the guns on the main base. The main frame is actually running on a cast iron leg on the right side of the screen and also on the left side of the screen. You've got different castings throughout, let alone uprights that are also on the outside and inside holding the components. All this is adjustable. We can generally go from this surface here up to here about 12 inches. We can also go from we can actually do a drawer that's about 7 inches in total width out to about 36 inches or so. Depends on your sample requirements. Pretty slick little unit. I'm going to go ahead and run through this. You run about 90 psi. You've actually got a control arm here that swivels back and forth depending if you're a left-handed guy or a right-handed guy, or a gal for that matter, depending on where you want to stand or how it's laid out in your facility. But in a nutshell, you've got real simple controls. I'll start from the right-hand side and work to the left. You've got an emergency button, which is basically unclamp, mushroom button. Just press it. It'll kill everything, dissipate the air, and you're safe. Then you got a staple button, which is in yellow. Then you're going to have a green button, which is clamp. And then you've got a 3-position switch right here. 3-position switch, you've got, right now it's in auto mode, you got semi, and then you got manual. Manual mode, which means you could do each operation at a time and go ahead and fire one at a time. Semi, it'll just go through a couple different functions, and full auto, in this case, you can go ahead, and I'm going to fire this off. It'll come in, clamp the material up against the fixed stops on the opposite side. The platinum bases rise and they come down and they actually fire. In this case, we fired a nail pattern of 5. So 5 times, each one of the guns fired 5 different times. I'm going to do this one more time. I'm dry cycling it so you guys can see it. A lot of things depend on what's going on here as far as total productivity per hour. But if you're doing constant changeovers, you can do it with this machine. If you're doing more readily same component machines like your 80-20 principle, what are you running 80% of your orders through? That's ideally what you're going to set it up for. Maybe you're going to buy 3 of these units or 4 of them like some customers do. And these are the lion's share of what they do. So I run this size, I run another size, and then it's real quick, fast production for customers. Now, we've got a sensor on the left-hand side of the screen and one on the right-hand side of the screen, and it actually senses the material. So it knows how tall a drawer it is. So if the next one comes in, it's the exact same size, but it's only half this width, the guns aren't going to go all the way up. There's a cam system. Go ahead and pull this off of here. There's a cam system actually inside, which you're really not going to see from your vantage point. And there's a sensor that actually determines what your nail pattern is that you can adjust based on what your needs are and what your customer wants you to do. Anyway, the 2 sensors sense the wood. They go ahead and clamp everything up against your fixed stops. This is your reference point as your initial, I'm going to call that your 0 level. So everything's on the same plane as this casting surface here, so your drawers are nice and flat on one edge. So what you're trying to do is you want to make sure that this is flush in this area each and every time. So that's your 0 point. There's a cord management system on the opposite side, which is some gore track. So as you run this carriage in and out, as the carriage goes back and forth, everything runs nice and smooth, and the cords are not in the way. They're all self-contained in a nice, good fashion. The drawer machine is set up that it can actually be, you can actually take this machine, and ideally you want to anchor it to your concrete floor. Anchors will be provided as well. You're going to be running about 90 psi typically. That can vary depending on how much you're stealing air from other areas of the plant, or starving other areas of the plant, as the case may go. Anyway, about 90 psi on that side of it. Pretty good machine. Pneumatic nail guns. We can mount anybody's gun that's on here. whoever gives you the best service in your area, that's probably who you need to pick on. So if you're going to be doing a drawer machine with us, we're going to ask you to provide the staple guns. Okay, in this case, it'll be some sort of brad nailer. And while you're doing it at the same time, send us some staples as well. Okay, and why don't you send us a box? Don't just send us one little clip, because we're going to go through and practice and test shoot a few times. That'll save a lot of steps. Now, the pneumatic nail guns, the things you guys got to focus on. We'll try and zoom in here, but you've got remote fires. You say, well, what's a remote fire? Well, it's actually it's a special trigger that's in here. Typically, we have a trigger that you and I, if you had a 16-penny nail gun or anything, you pull in a trigger on with your finger, your pointer finger. In this case, it's been replaced with a valve, and the computer's actually running each one of the guns, telling it when to fire. So there's a slight hesitation. You and I didn't hear it, but there's a slight hesitation when we're actually firing on each one to make sure, number one, we have enough volume going to each one of the tools and pressure. This is a positive fire valve. The guns need to come that way. So if that doesn't happen initially right away, get in touch with us. We'd be happy to talk to one of your service guys, whoever you buy your pneumatic nail guns from, and we can visit with them. Why do we need this? This is actually a safety feature for you, the customer. We want to control 100% of the time what's happening here, and not fire if there's no material here. So this sensor, once again, the two sensors, if, say for instance, we just had an open drawer face on one end and there was no material here, or it was shorter for some reason, we were going to fire 5 nails here or 4 nails here, and we only want to do 3 on this side. It will do that on this side. So pretty slick. Everything depends on what your customer needs are and how you order the machine. There's special jigs and fixtures that typically we'll look at once you send us your samples. Okay, samples such as what we have here. Once you send us the samples, whether they're straight boards or they're tongue and groove, or in this case we've got a miter that's actually routed in here where all the components fit nice and neat. A lot of them come in, they're not that way, they're just basically flat boards like you'd see on this side. Regardless, you send your samples to us, send us your 80/20. Those things that you're doing the most of, those are the ones we want to see initially, because that's going to get you the greatest productivity gain. Send us those samples. We may have some extra jigs and fixtures that we need to configure the machine with, which will be an additional charge, but it's generally it's pretty easy going. You've got a 110. There's a pigtail that comes on the machine, so you can just plug it in anywhere you want, or you could wire it direct if you so choose to. There's an on-off switch. There's a little toggle on this end. Real simple machine, really easy to run. You've got cast iron everywhere, so you're going to have to oil the bars from time to time, oil the screw from time to time. The swing arm, which I'm not sure I covered that, but real quick. Swing arm, we've got a pivoting as well as the control head this way. And we did that intentionally because operators are left and right-handed people. So the person can actually be loading from this side, or they can be loading from this side, or however it works out, depending on the orientation of your operators. So that was an intentional thought that we had to try and make it easier for the operators that are actually running the machine. It just makes more sense. It provides better value to you, the customer. If you got any questions on this product or anything else, in our Triad product line, please call the factory at 1-800-568-7423. Once again, this is the drawer machine, and if you got any questions, please go look online. You can see some specifications, the weight and so forth of this machine. You can go look at triadruvo.com on the website. Feel free to look us up. Once again, my name is Russ Merrick, and I'd like to thank you for your time.